Hey, what's happening, everyone? I'm SirJames coming at you guys with another video. Hopefully you guys are doing well this weekend and are excited for tomorrow, May 4th. Today I'm here to showcase another Savi's Workshop compatible lightsaber, and that is Rey's now official lightsaber from Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. You know what? That's not a good enough intro, because I don't have anything special planned video-wise, so I need to do something today. Let's see, we got the lights, camera, the saber. Oh, you know what I need? I need to do a quick costume change, so let me go ahead and do that right now. There we go, now that we're in costume. You know what, I've seen it in the comments numerous times. Timestamps. Here's where he ignites the lightsaber. This is the moment he ignites the lightsaber. Oh, he turns it on at this point, that point. You know what? We're gonna change it, alright? So now that we have everything set up, what we need is that, let's do something different. Let's ignite the saber first, and then we'll talk about it. So let's go ahead and start, and 3, 2, cue the music, 1, go. I hope you guys like that little intro there. Just want to kind of do something a little bit different and to celebrate May 4th just a little bit earlier. But anyways, you guys are here for this. We have Rey's lightsaber, which is from Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Though in the actual film, we don't get to see much of the saber in action. It's pretty much at the very end of it, where she ignites it, then it deactivates, and there's just kind of that moment where I was like, that's a really cool lightsaber. I hope Disney releases like a legacy one, or any of these other lightsaber companies were to make one, which so far no one really has. The only main options that I've seen are 3D printed ones, like this for example, though this one here is compatible for an existing piece, which is the chassis from Savi's Workshop. Now keep in mind that I do not take any credit for making the files. The file creator to Think and all the other people are in the description down below to download, which is free by the way. So all the credit is right there, but I do take credit for being the one to actually use my machine to print this, to paint it, to do all the leather work and stuff like that. So everything that's right here was done by me, but in terms of the actual files, they were created by another individual. Now, to kind of recap from the chassis from Savi's Workshop, for anyone that is not familiar with my old videos or just never been at Disneyland or Galaxy's Edge, this is the chassis right here. Pretty much in the center will house a kyber crystal. On the one end, you have a battery pack. There are basic electronics in here, and then on the other end you will insert a blade. So basically what this is consisting of is 3D printed pieces that houses over this existing piece. So keep in mind that with some of these 3D printed projects is that some of them seem a little bit bigger than others. That's because really this is what people have to work around with. I mean, if this was a bit thinner or shorter, then obviously you could work with the different designs to kind of fit its basic needs. But again, this is what people are dealing with when they're making these compatible pieces. So there are certain things that they have to do and keep in mind in terms of, does the pieces fit? Does it look right? Do you have to increase the size ever so slightly to ensure that the design is still intact? So these are the different challenges that people tend to face. So let's go ahead and give you guys a closer look here. So starting off with this top portion of the emitter. So there is the top right there, and we'll discuss that in just a moment. What's nice is that this portion actually does twist, though it doesn't serve any function besides just twisting like it is in the movie. Add a little bit of a rust weather to it as well. And then before I finish it off, I actually took some light sand and kind of smeared it on here and then wiped it off just to kind of give that dirty look, because this is something that she's had in the desert for many, many years. I don't know how many years, but for such a long time. And then we have this center portion here wrapped. Now, I don't know the type of leather here because I actually had a friend bring some down. But this little bit right here that's hanging out is those adherent bandage that you could find at Target. And then I've added a cover tech wheel so you could actually clip this onto your belt. And I'll show you guys how this looks when you take it apart, because you'll notice that there's a seam line right here, and I did that on purpose. And then here is the bottom portion. And there are some areas, and I think it's because of how hot it was, where it caused the paint in some areas to kind of crack a bit, which actually works for the detail. I'm not sure how well it's going to show on camera. You can kind of see those cracks there. So that actually added to the element of the saber. So pretty much how it works is that this is going to work just like any other Savi's Workshop lightsaber, where you have a toggle switch to activate and deactivate, and then you have the top section where you will insert the blade. Now, you were looking at this and thinking to yourself, okay, well obviously you can't put a blade there, so how does that work? Well, what's cool is that with the files, you actually have a bunch of different components that you could swap out for this. So you simply unscrew this top here. And then if you wanted to insert the blade, you could print out the other piece that would allow you to do so, which is how the saber looks when it's opened. There you go. So for this emitter section, what they've done is that they've created several files. So you can have it like this, where the pieces kind of stick up just a little bit. They also have it where it's completely flat. There's no spikes at all. And then you got it with the spikes. And, pretty much I just went with the two best options, which is, again, where it kind of sticks out just a little bit. And, of course, with the spikes to give it the overall effect, I thought those were the two best looking options. Before we actually insert the blade, what I want to do is go ahead and take this apart and show you guys how I have this done. So first we're going to go ahead and remove this top section here. So that's one piece, well technically two pieces if you include that top. And then when I was wrapping this, I was thinking to myself, well, the one thing I don't want to do is to constantly wrap it back up and then unwrap it anytime I want to take this apart. So when I was wrapping it, I wanted to ensure that I could still take the pieces apart without having to do all that extra work. So this is the top sleeve right here. So we still have that bit still wrapped up. Next up, we're going to go ahead and unscrew the pommel. And then we have the bottom sleeve. And now all that's left is the activation switch. And this is why there's this line here. So you simply take it apart like so. And this pretty much comes apart as kind of like a one-piece thing. So that way it's not taking away from the look at all. And then of course in the center we have our crystal. So simply to put it back in, you just line up all the pieces again, bring this forward, clamp it in, and then you go ahead and start screwing in your pieces again. So again, we have the bottom there. Then here's the pommel. Up next is the top sleeve. It only goes in one way. And then you have this emitter section. Now you'll probably notice, actually let me just take this apart. This emitter section actually extends the look of the saber just a tad, because again the challenges to face here is that you have to try to keep the original look of what you're trying to go for, which is why the activation switch, instead of appearing to be in the middle, is down here, because this is the middle, this bottom portion. So that's pretty much how it works. So let's go ahead and bring over a blade. Simply insert it like so. Go ahead and turn off this light here. And again, this top piece right here doesn't do anything at all. But the reason why I did in the intro is because, you know, video editing, the magic of video editing. But you flip the toggle switch down here to turn it on, and pretty much there you go. Again, all the electronics are going to be the basic and the same as you would see from Savi's workshop. You know, nothing too special, nothing too extra. Turn this back on. Now there is one little defect that I've noticed with the files, because everything else pretty much printed perfectly fine, but there's one thing that I noticed is that when you are inserting the blade, these little metal portions that kind of stick out from the end of the blade ends up hitting this little section right here. So those metal, actually let me see if I could show that to you guys. I'm not sure how well you could see this. Alright, so you see those metal portions of the blade? Every time this sticks in, this actually pretty much puts a lot of strain on the portion that screws in. I actually had to repair mine with some glue. Thankfully, it didn't damage it all the way, so I was able to fix it. But I just did notice that it actually kind of slammed into it. So I think one of the ways you could possibly fix it, but then again, I kind of worry about the integrity, is maybe kind of sanding the inside of the portion just enough to where hopefully every time you slide the blade in, those little metal portions won't impact this quite a bit. But that's the only thing that I could really think of for that. So let me go ahead and put the non-activation one here. And honestly, I really liked how this turned out. I wasn't sure how this was going to be, or if I could find any leather wrapping, because a lot of the places that I go to is closed because of the whole pandemic thing. But I really liked how this turned out. I mean, sure, is it the most accurate sizing? No, not really. It's actually just a little bit bigger, because if you play Star Wars Battlefront 2 by DICE, I don't say EA because EA stopped supporting it long ago, but good work on DICE's end, is that there is a new character skin for Rey, and in this character skin we have her new outfit from the new movie, and she's using her new lightsaber. So if you ever wanted to see this lightsaber in action, best way to go about it is by playing that video game. And we see her holding it with two hands. So technically this is just a grip longer than necessary, because when she's holding it in the video game, she has a grip right here on this top part, and she's also gripping it on this bottom section. So this little bit that's exposed right here, that's how, you know, extra it is in terms of sizing. So if that bit wasn't there, then this would have been a perfect size. But again, there's only so much you can do with these chassis right here. But again, I thought this was great. Besides that one little issue that I tended to notice that might be able to get fixed, I think this is a great file. So if you have a 3D printer and you have a chassis from Savi's workshop, then this is a really good option to go for. Like I said, it's a free file. Definitely highly recommend it. Now, even if you don't have a chassis from Savi's workshop and you have a 3D printer, I've seen on Thingiverse, and I'll try to link it down below too, where it's a basic chassis. I mean, you're not going to have the electronic portion of it, but it's something that you could assemble together, so you kind of have a makeshift chassis just to kind of look at until you get an actual one. But again, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Keep in mind that the cover tech wheel on it wasn't something that was shown on there. It's because I had it extra, and I just thought, you know, it'd be kind of nice to clip onto your belt if I ever wanted to bring it to Disney, which whenever Disney opens back up, you can bet that I will. And of course, also too, if you have a chance, don't forget to check out the Dano channel. He actually did a video on one himself, which I'll put a link down that in the description. But until then, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next video upload.